Hello everyone, welcome to second grading. And for this week, we will begin with lesson 1, listening strategies from November 15 to 20, 2021. So I hope class, we are very much prepared for our second quarter. Okay? Okay, so how well do you listen? When we say listening, we are using our sense of hearing. Now, for some people, this skill is difficult because if you don't listen well, misunderstanding can happen. Now, if you were able to differentiate hearing and listening, then you are a good listener. Now, what is the difference between these two? When we say hearing, we are simply acquiring sounds. But when we say listening, we understand or we give meaning to the sounds that we acquire. Do you get that? So in Tagalog, kapag naririnig mo lang, ito ay hearing. Pero kapag nauunawaan mo kung ano ang iyong naririnig, then ito ay listening. Let us have fun facts about elephant. You probably heard the expression elephant ears. This is actually an idiomatic expression, class. It describes someone with an extraordinary ability to hear sounds that would be inaudible to virtually everyone else. Well, the praise is extremely accurate. Do you know that elephants have some of the best hearing around? They can hear at frequencies 20 times lower than humans. It isn't just their ears that perceive sound. These majestic beasts also have receptors in their trunks and feet that are excellent at picking up low-frequency vibrations. That explains why elephants are usually the first animals to detect an upcoming thunderstorm and move toward the new source of water. Okay? So hindi lang pala sa tao na nagagamit talaga ang pag ikaw ay mahusay na nakikinig, kundi kahit sa hayop meron pala tayong best listener, and of course, walang iba daw yan kundi ang mga elepante because they can hear even that yung pinakamahinang tunog naririnig daw nila. So, may natutunan tayo, something about science today. Now, listening, though often underrated, is one of the most essential skills. So, isa daw to sa pinakamahalaga we use in our day-to-day communication. When done right, it enables us to completely understand matters we hear and come up with appropriate feedback when needed. Whether we listen for a specific idea or an array of more difficult concepts and details, it is important that we know how to employ ways that can help us listen effectively. Now, for this week class, we're going to study the 2 ways on how are you going to listen effectively. Paano ka daw ba makikinig ng maayos? So, meron palang 2 paraan. Okay, 2 types of listening strategies. The first one is known as top-down listening strategies, are considered listener-based strategies. In these strategies, the listener uses background knowledge to make sense of what he or she is listening to. Now, pag sinabi natin class na background knowledge, ibig sabihin ano yung alam mo na tungkol sa bagay na yon. Maaaring ito ay mula sa mga experiences mo noong maliit ka pa or nung elementary ka pa, or pwede rin namang dahil doon sa kung ikaw ay mahilig magbasa, kung ikaw ay mahilig makinig. So ano yung mga natututunan mo sa iyong paligid? This means that he or she already knows a fair amount of information about the topic, and he or she is able to relate a story of information in a previously established schema or prior knowledge. So, tingnan nyo class itong mga hinighlight kong mga phrases. Pag sinabi daw nating listener-based strategy or top-down, ikaw daw ay may alam na. Ikaw daw ay nakaka-relate. Siyempre, pag may alam na, nakaka-relate ka na sa kung ano man ang pinag-uusapan. And other examples of common top-down listening strategy or listening activities include listening for main idea, making predictions, drawing inferences, summarizing, and taking down notes. Now, you might be wondering, Ma'am, paano ba nasasabi halimbawa, let's say itong mga activities na 'to, paano ko magagarantiya na ako ay may alam na, sa mga topic na pag-uusapan? Now usually class, let's say for example, listening for main idea, nagbibigay of course ang inyong teacher ng it can be a picture, it can be a question, kagaya kanina nung aking sa second slide ko, I have there a prompt question to give you an idea of what the topic is about. So dahil dun sa mga prompt questions na yon, dahil dun sa mga images na ipinakikita ng teacher, nagkakaroon ka ngayon ng tinatawag na background knowledge. And dahil meron ka ng background knowledge, hindi mo alam itong subconsciously, yung iyong mind ay daw ay nagbabago at ang ginagamit mo ay listener-based strategy or top-down listening strategy. Okay? Let's move on to number 2. Bottom-up listening strategies, on the other hand, are considered text-based strategies. When using these strategies, the listener attempts to make sense of the language, sound by sound or word by word, with less use of background knowledge. The listener relies on the language in the message, sounds, words, and grammar that creates the meaning. Other examples of common bottom-up listening activities include listening for specific details, recognizing word order patterns, recognizing word sounds, and recognizing cognates. Now, kapag naman daw you are not so familiar with the topic, syempre halimbawa, ang pinag-uusapan is about politics. So wala ka namang alam doon kung ikaw ay isang grade 7 student at na hindi ka naman mahilig makinig ng balita, di ba? So, for the first time na makakarinig ka halimbawa ng speech ni BBM, so ang mind mo ay parang dahan-dahang nakikinig. So sabi natin na mind, bakit ng mind at hindi ears? Kasi nga listening ang ginagamit natin, hindi hearing. Hindi lang basta hearing, kailangan nauunawaan natin kung ano yung ating naririnig. So, dahan-dahan mong pinakikinggan yung kanyang mga sinasabi, yung choice of words niya, at dahil dito, gumagamit ka ng tinatawag na bottom-up listening strategies. So, again, atin lamang balikan. Kapag ikaw ay may prior knowledge na, ang ginagamit mo ay top-down. Kapag wala ka pang masyadong alam, ang ginagamit mo ay bottom-up listening strategies. Okay, for Monday activity, you're going to answer test 1. Decide whether each of the following listening strategies below should be categorized as top-down or bottom-up strategies. Write your answers in your notebook. Actually, class, ang learning task 1 ay masasabi nating parang motivational activity, initial activity to. So, ang purpose talaga nito, i-test lang kung nakukuha mo ba yung concept nung itinuturo sa lesson na yon. So, hindi naman talaga kailangan 100% tama ka dito. So, let's give it a try. Number 1, taking down notes. Number 2, listening for specific details. Number 3, identifying the speaker. So, let's recall. Top down, with fair amount of info about the topic. Bottom up, with less info about the topic. Now ask yourself, if you are taking down notes, okay, do you know something or you didn't know anything? So I guess the answer is top down for number 1. How about number 2? If you are listening for specific details, you want to get the what, where, when, how, and why of a certain text, which of the listening strategy are you going to use? Okay, if you answer bottom up, then you're correct. How about number 3? By simply listening to the words or to the sound of the voices, are you going to identify or were you be able to identify the speaker? I think yes. So that would be top-down listening strategy. Now you're going to continue answering numbers 4 to 10 on page 6 of your module. Another activity on Monday is learning task 3. Listen to your favorite English song. Copy its lyrics in your notebook, then answer the questions that follow. Number 1. What do you think is your chosen song about? So in Tagalog, tungkol saan ang iyong napiling kanta? Number 2. Which words or phrases help you understand the context of your chosen song? Explain your answer. So in Tagalog, ano yung mga phrases or ang tawag natin sa song ay lines na nakatulong sa iyo para daw maunawaan mo ang iyong kantang napili? And then ipaliwanag. Number 3. How will you rate your familiarity of the context of your chosen song using a scale of 1 being the lowest to 10 as the highest? So, kung i-rate mo daw ng 1 to 10, gaano ka ka-familiar doon sa napili mong kanta? And number 4, do you know of real-life scenarios or stories that you can relate to the chosen song? Cite at least one and explain how it relates to your chosen song. So, syempre, nagugustuhan natin na isang kanta kapag nakaka-relate tayo. So, meron ka daw bang mai-share na real-life scenario tungkol doon sa kantang napili mo? Okay, to help you with, I have here an example. So, sample answer only, do not copy. The song title that I have chosen is You by Carpenters. So, syempre, medyo maedad na po si ma'am, kaya naka-you na tayo. Okay, this is the lyrics. Now, I did not copy. I don't need to copy the entire song. I just chose, I think this is the first and second stanza. So, you are the one who makes me happy when everything else turns to gray. Yours is the voice that wakes me mornings and send me out into the day. You are the crowd that sits quiet listening to me and all the mad sense that I make. You are one of the few things worth remembering, and since it's all true, how could anyone mean more to me than you? Diba? Now, after copying the lyrics, you're going to answer the 4 questions, and here are my answers. So, my chosen song is about someone who made a girl happy. Number 2, the words or phrases that help me understand the context of the song is found in the first stanza because it clearly narrates how the person affects her life. And number 3, I'm going to rate it as 10 because I am very much familiar with it. And 4, for the real life scenario, yes, my personal love story. When I found my husband, I realized he affects my emotion and my world just like the persona in this song. Okay, as simple as that for Monday. Okay, let's move on to Tuesday. Learning Task 4. Examine the excerpts taken from President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's speech. As you read or listen, complete the table provided below. The table asks you to provide specific details about some of the areas or concerns mentioned by the President. Write your answers in your notebook. So I have here, class, nakalagay dito, see the copy on page 9 and okay, meron lang tayong unlocking of difficulty, ano? So, vocabulary natin. Let's build our vocabulary. When we say excerpt, it is a noun which means a short extract from an original text. So, hindi talaga ito yung original. Kinuha lang ang kaunting bahagi daw ng original text. Now, you're going to find this copy on page 8 and 9 of your module. So, let's see. So, here's the task for Tuesday. Iisa po ito ha. Ito pa rin yung learning task 4. Explain lang natin. What did the President say about these topics? Now, class, yung number 1 doon ay COVID. Tinanggal ko kasi wala naman talagang COVID doon sa speech. Siguro hindi nakuha nung nagputol, ano. And then number 2, we have illegal drugs, and 3, graft and corruption. So I will give number 1 as an example. Based from, this is actually directly taken from the excerpt. So ibig sabihin, kinopya ko lang ito doon. They must be laughing while they stash their dirty monies, but not for long. They cannot outrun the law, the long arm of the law. So, ano ang sinabi ni Duterte about the profiteers? Sila daw ay siguro masaya pero wag at hindi magtatagal dahil sila ay hahanapin ng batas. Yun ang ibig sabihin niya dyan. Okay? So, answer this on Tuesday. Okay, let's move on. Wednesday. Learning Test 5. Using the excerpt provided in the previous test, see the copy on page 9. Write a short essay that summarizes your expectations and realizations after reading or listening to it. Write it in your notebook. So, ano daw ang isusulat natin? Expectations and realization. Now, class, before we move on to the excerpt, I have here parts of an essay. So, ano ba yung parts of an essay? We have 3. The introduction, the body, and the conclusion. So, don't worry, I'm going to show a sample of that later on. So, simply answer this question. Based on President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's speech, what are your expectations and realizations about illegal drugs and graft and corruption? A 10-sentence essay will do. So class, hindi natin ito kokopyahin direkta dun sa binasa kanina, no? Kasi iba ang tanong, ano daw ang ini-expect mo at na-realize mo matapos mong mabasa ang tungkol sa illegal drugs and graft and corruption? So meaning, opinion mo ang lalabas sa essay. Okay? Let me give you an example. So this is my example. Do not copy. I mean, you cannot copy because I changed the excerpt. Okay, for Wednesday, so eto pa rin yun ha. Kunwari, learning test 5 pa rin tayo. I have a different excerpt. So hindi ito tungkol kay Duterte para hindi nyo makopya. So, Manila, Philippines, the Philippine National Police or PNP recorded 97,635 violations of minimum public health and safety protocols against COVID-19 in the National Capital Region, plus areas from November 5 to November 8 or since Metro Manila was placed under Alert Level 2. Nationwide, 144,295 violators of minimum public health and safety protocols were recorded for the same period, which means that 67% of the violations occurred in NCR Plus areas including Metro Manila and neighboring provinces of Bulacan, Cavite, Rizal, and Laguna. So, excerpt lang ito from Philippine Inquirer. Pinag-uusapan natin dito kung gaano daw kadami ang nag-violate ng safety protocol sa Manila at sa karatig pang mga provinces. So, ano ang gagawin natin? Ang hinahanap sa Learning Task 5, ano yung expectations and realizations ko after ko mabasa yung balita. So, eto na yung aking sagot. Okay? My expectation and realization. Tingnan nyo to ha. I have here 3 paragraphs. Pero, maliliit lang sila. Hindi naman natin kailangan pahabain. Kaya sabi ko kanina, a 10-sentence essay will do. For the introduction, the pandemic has hit all of us since 2020. It caused a drastic change in all aspects of life from everyone around the globe. This latest news simply proves us that as Filipinos, we never learned from the fatal effects of COVID-19. The virus is here to stay. The vaccine is just for prevention and not for protection. If we will continue to violate even simple health and safety protocols, we will never be free from the shadows of danger caused by the virus. Our self-discipline should always remain within us. Safety should be our top priority. If we want to move on and continue our lives, we should learn how to follow rules and care more not only to ourselves but also to everyone around us. So again, this is a very short essay. So the first paragraph is an intro. the middle is the body, and of course, I have the conclusion. Again, ano yung nilalaman ng essay? My expectation and realization about the news that I have read a while ago. Again, this is for Wednesday. Thursday. Learning Task 6. Using the knowledge you have gained about listening strategies, copy and accomplish the matrix below in your notebook. Then cite at least 3 real-life situations where you can employ top-down and bottom-up listening strategies. So class, ang hinahanap sa Learning Task 6 ay real-life situation. So saan mo daw magagamit ang top-down at saan mo magagamit ang bottom-up listening strategy? So this is actually the given table on our module. So I have an example for each. So for top down, example ko, when you're listening to a love song, syempre you are very much familiar with that song at lahat naman talaga ay nakaka-relate sa love, kaya doon natin siya ilalagay sa top down. However, as I mentioned a while ago, if you're listening to a news report and then hindi ka naman talaga familiar with the news, then you are using bottom-up listening strategies. So, aside from these 2 real-life situations, ano pa kaya yung pwede mong idagdag sa dalawang yan? Okay, that is your Thursday activity. And of course, on Friday, so sabi ng ating clip art, stay home and read the book. So, Reading Friday po tayo, class, every Friday. And every Saturday is finishing your task. So, I hope you will be able to finish all of these tasks. We skip task number 2. Kung napansin nyo, hindi natin sinagutan yon. So, we have 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, that's all for this video, and our references: Pivot LMG7 Calabarzon, your module. We have an article from Inquirer.net, and of course the images are from Google and Pinterest. This is Mom Ramirez, your English teacher, saying goodbye and happy week 1, everybody.